In a quiet, sun-dappled village, nestled between rolling green hills, life unfolds in a rhythm as timeless as the mountains that cradle it. Mud brick homes, each painted in earthy reds and yellows, dot the landscape, and narrow pathways wind between them, well worn from the feet of villagers who walk them every day. At dawn, women gather at the well, balancing pots on their heads, exchanging laughter and stories as they fill them with cool water. The smell of cooking fires mingles with the crisp morning air, while the sound of children's laughter echoes from a nearby clearing where they play carefree games. Small vendors set up their modest stalls along the main path, offering vibrant fruits, spices, and trinkets for the evening market. The village, though modest, brims with life, tradition, and a deep sense of community. In the heart of this village lives Amina, a young woman of unwavering spirit and quiet strength. Amina's life is far from easy, yet she meets each day with a gentle smile and a determination that inspires everyone around her. From dawn till dusk, she works tirelessly in the fields, harvesting crops under the sun, her hands roughened by labour, but her heart filled with kindness. She is known for her generosity, often giving part of her harvest to families in need. Despite her hardships, she carries herself with grace and humility, winning the respect and admiration of her fellow villagers. She dreams of a better future, but her sense of duty to her family always keeps her grounded, tethered to the land that has been in her family for generations. Amina's family is her greatest challenge and, at the same time, her most cherished responsibility. Her father, long burdened by an old injury, can no longer work as he once did, leaving the weight of the family's survival on her young shoulders. Her stepmother, Rahana, is a stern and often bitter woman, prone to sharp words and cold glares, who resents Amina for the responsibility she bears with such resilience. Though Rahana's own hardships have hardened her heart, Amina tries to find common ground, caring for her with patience and respect. Amina's younger brother, Arif, looks up to her with admiration, clinging to her with youthful innocence, unaware of the difficulties that weigh on her every step. For him, she is a beacon of hope, the one who makes their house feel like a home, and she takes solace in his laughter and wide-eyed dreams. In this village, under the watchful eyes of family and neighbours, Amina lives a life filled with small joys and quiet struggles. It is a life of duty, but one she embraces wholeheartedly, carrying her burdens without complaint, her heart bound by love and loyalty. Yet deep within, a silent hope lingers, a hope that one day she will be rewarded for her unyielding spirit and find a happiness all her own. One evening, as Amina gathers firewood in the nearby forest, she notices an unusual tension in the air. The village is quieter than usual. Even the birds have stopped their singing. When she returns home, her stepmother Rehana is waiting for her with a severe expression. In her hands is a letter, a formal proposal from a wealthy merchant in a distant town who wishes to take Amina as his wife. Amina's heart drops. She has never met this man, nor does she wish to leave her village and family behind. The merchant, much older and known for his temper, is not the life partner she imagined. She has dreams of building a future in her village, working the land she loves, not of being sent away to live under the rule of a stranger. Rahana, however, sees this proposal as an opportunity for the family. "It's the chance of a lifetime," she insists, her voice sharp and unyielding. For her, Amina's marriage could bring a substantial bride price, easing their financial burdens. But Amina's protests fall on deaf ears. Rahana dismisses her objections, emphasizing the duty of a daughter to obey her family's wishes. "Think of your father and brother," she says coldly, reminding Amina of the sacrifices they've all made. Rahana's words cut deep, filling Amina with a mix of anger, helplessness, and a sense of betrayal. How can she choose between her duty to her family and her dreams? As the pressure mounts, Amina is left alone with her turbulent emotions. She feels trapped in an unfair situation, forced to sacrifice her happiness for the sake of her family. A spark of defiance begins to grow within her, and though she has always respected her family's wishes, she knows this decision will determine the course of her entire life. Her mind races with conflicting thoughts, loyalty and rebellion, fear and hope. Despite her gentle nature, she knows she cannot let this injustice continue without a fight. In the days that follow, Amina's relationship with Rahana becomes increasingly strained. Rahana, seeing Amina's reluctance, becomes colder and more forceful, often scolding her in public to humiliate her into compliance. Amina's younger brother, Arif, watches in confusion, unable to understand the tension but sensing his sister's distress. Meanwhile, whispers spread throughout the village, with neighbours casting pitying glances at Amina, their voices low as they discuss her fate. Rahana, already hardened by her own struggles, reveals a darker side as she enforces her will on Amina with an unyielding intensity. Her jealousy of Amina's youthful spirit and admiration within the community fuels her determination to see the marriage through, creating an antagonism that is as much personal as it is practical. Amina is left facing an uncertain future, knowing that if she does not stand up for herself now, her dreams may be forever out of reach. The tension and uncertainty build, setting her on a path that will challenge everything she has known. Days pass, and Amina's life becomes increasingly unbearable under Rahana's constant scrutiny. Every morning, Rahana finds fault with her, whether it's the way she prepares breakfast or how she tends the animals. The villagers, once her friendly neighbours, begin to treat her differently, swayed by Rahana's whispered accusations that Amina is disobedient and ungrateful. Rumours spread that Amina lacks respect for her family and the traditions they hold dear, painting her as selfish and arrogant. Amina feels the weight of these falsehoods pressing down on her, making her daily routines feel like struggles against invisible currents. One afternoon, as Amina draws water from the village well, she overhears a group of women murmuring nearby. They speak of her as though she were a stranger, referring to her stubbornness and lack of gratitude for her family's sacrifices. The harsh words sting, but Amina steels herself, determined not to let them see her pain. She knows that standing up for herself would only confirm their belief that she is rebellious. Yet the pressure continues to build within her, and she wonders how much longer she can bear it all. Back at home, her situation worsens. Rahana begins assigning her impossible tasks that take her from dawn until dusk, hoping to break her spirit. Amina tries her best to endure it, remembering her mother's teachings of patience and resilience, but each day seems harder than the last. To cope, she pours her emotions into small, simple acts, sharing a smile with her little brother, quietly helping an elder in the village, or tending to her family's garden. These actions, though small, give her strength and a sense of purpose amidst her struggles. One evening, Rahana accuses Amina of stealing a prized ornament, an heirloom from her own family. Although Amina denies it, Rahana's fury is relentless, demanding a confession in front of the entire household. Amina feels humiliated, her heart pounding with both anger and helplessness. She realizes that no matter how hard she tries to prove her loyalty, Rahana will never see her as anything but an obstacle. Yet, she remains silent, unwilling to betray her inner dignity. Her quiet resilience impresses Arif, who watches the scene unfold with a deep sadness in his young eyes. A few neighbours, who have always admired Amina's kindness, begin to notice the injustices she suffers. An old woman named Bibi, who has known Amina since she was a child, approaches her one evening. "Child, you have a gentle heart," she whispers, taking Amina's hand. "People may not see the truth now, but you must continue to be true to yourself." Bibi's words offer Amina a glimmer of hope, a reminder that her goodness is seen, even if not by those closest to her. Despite Bibi's kindness, Rahana intensifies her efforts to make Amina's life difficult. She forces her to wake earlier than anyone else and stay up later, ensuring her days are filled with grueling tasks. Amina's hands blister and her body grows weary, but her spirit refuses to break. Even when Rahana belittles her in front of others, Amina holds her head high, unwilling to let her stepmother see her crumble. She knows that her quiet strength is all she has left, and she clings to it fiercely. Through it all, the villagers' attitudes shift slowly. Some begin to question Rahana's motives, seeing the bruises on Amina's hands, her quiet endurance, and her continued kindness despite everything. Amina's unyielding goodness shines even in her darkest moments, drawing sympathy and respect from those who observe her silent struggle. And though Amina feels alone, the subtle acts of support from people like Bibi and the silent admiration of her younger brother give her the strength to face each new day, hoping that somehow her perseverance will lead her to a life of dignity and peace. One evening, Amina finds herself alone in the small garden, tending to the wilting flowers under a dusky sky. Her body aches from endless chores, and her heart is weighed down with sorrow. Suddenly, she hears raised voices inside the house, Rahana's unmistakable shrill tone, followed by her father's weary reply. Amina quietly moves closer, hoping to understand what's happening. Through the door, she hears Rahana insisting that Amina be married off quickly to an older, wealthy man in a neighbouring village. She speaks as though Amina is nothing more than a burden to be passed off, her words sharp and dismissive. Amina's father protests weakly, but Rahana overwhelms him, making it clear that if he doesn't agree, there will be no peace in their home. Amina stands frozen outside, her world collapsing around her. She feels as if the earth beneath her feet has vanished, leaving her in freefall, helpless and without support. This marriage would end any hope she had for a future on her own terms. Later that night, as she lies alone, Amina tries to hold back her tears, but they flow freely, betraying the strength she has struggled so hard to maintain. She feels utterly alone, abandoned even by the father who once shielded her. The realization settles heavily within her. No one in her family would fight for her, and she must face this struggle alone. She thinks of running away, of escaping into the night, but even that idea seems impossible, given the smallness of her world and the vastness of her burdens. In her despair, Amina steps outside under the cold, starlit sky, breathing in the silence around her. She closes her eyes, praying for strength, wishing for something to give her a reason to keep hoping. As she opens her eyes, she notices the soft light of a lantern near the edge of the field. It's Bibi, the old woman from the village, approaching quietly. Bibi notices the sadness in Amina's eyes and gently places her hand on her shoulder, saying nothing, but offering a reassuring presence. Without needing to explain, Amina feels understood. Bibi finally speaks, her voice a low whisper filled with wisdom. Child, there is a fire within you that no one can extinguish, not even those who seek to control you. You are not alone in this. She slips a small amulet into Amina's hand, a simple token, but one that holds the warmth of her kindness and belief in Amina's strength. Keep this close to you, and remember, hope can grow even in the darkest soil. Amina holds the amulet tightly, feeling a surge of something she thought had been buried. Hope. Bibi's words light a spark within her, reminding her that though her path is lonely, she has strength and worth, regardless of others' opinions. As she watches Bibi walk away, Amina realizes that this quiet act of kindness might be the sign she needed. For the first time, she feels a faint glimmer of resolve. She would find a way, no matter how difficult, to reclaim her life and her freedom. The night that once seemed endless now holds the promise of dawn, and Amina clings to this small but profound change within her heart. One misty morning, as the village begins to stir with the sounds of roosters crowing and women fetching water, Amina steels herself for what she knows she must do. She has spent sleepless nights replaying Bibi's words, feeling the amulet's weight in her hand, like a constant reminder of her hidden strength. Today, she will confront Rahana. Her heart beats fiercely, but with a resolve she has never felt before. In the dim light of dawn, Amina finds Rahana in the kitchen, preparing breakfast with her usual air of authority. Rahana glances up, surprised to see Amina standing there with such purpose, her gaze unflinching. "I need to speak with you," Amina says, her voice steady, refusing to waver. Rahana's eyes narrow, but Amina presses on, her words flowing from a place of newfound courage. I will not marry the man you have chosen for me. I deserve the chance to decide my own future. I will not let you take that from me. She speaks with a calmness that surprises even her, the quiet force of her resolve, leaving Rahana momentarily speechless. But before Rahana can respond, a voice interrupts them from the doorway. A man steps into the room, dressed simply but with a commanding presence. It's Jamal, the modest suitor Amina's father had introduced briefly before, whose proposal was dismissed by Rahana as unworthy. But as he steps closer, his tone is respectful yet firm, and he reveals an unexpected truth. He comes from a noble family who chose a life of humility to stay close to their roots and values. Jamal explains that he had observed Amina's kindness and courage from afar and had long admired her strength and resilience. He had intended to ask for her hand directly, but had hesitated upon witnessing the challenges she faced at home. Rahana's expression shifts from shock to anger, but her schemes have already begun to crumble. Jamal's revelation leaves her no choice but to relent, knowing that her attempts to control Amina's fate have failed. Realizing her power slipping away, Rahana retreats, her authority weakened. With the conflict finally resolved, Amina feels an overwhelming sense of freedom wash over her. Jamal reaches out to her, offering her a chance not only for marriage, but for a partnership built on respect and shared values. Amina accepts, grateful not only for Jamal's support, but for the journey that taught her to believe in her own strength. As they step out into the village square together, the warmth of the morning sun fills Amina with a peace she has never known. She glances back at her home one last time, her heart free from the burdens that once kept her confined. This new chapter marks not just the end of her struggles, but the beginning of a life where she is finally in control of her own destiny, and the village gathers around, recognizing her quiet but extraordinary courage. In the months that follow, Amina's life transforms in ways she had once only dreamed of. Married to Jamal, she discovers a companionship that is as tender as it is strong. Together, they rebuild a small home on the village's edge, surrounded by fields of wildflowers and the laughter of children who come to play near their door. Amina finds joy in her days, her heart brimming with the love and respect she had yearned for but never thought possible. The villagers, witnessing her journey from hardship to happiness, grow to admire her even more. Women seek her out, inspired by her strength, while the elders nod approvingly at her wisdom beyond her years. Amina becomes a beloved figure in the community, known for her kindness and courage, a testament to what resilience can bring. As for Rahana, her influence wanes. No longer feared or revered, she finds herself gradually isolated, left with only her bitterness as her schemes unravel. In the quiet moments, she watches Amina from a distance, unable to ignore the respect and contentment that now surround her former stepdaughter. A glimmer of regret passes through Rahana, though she remains too proud to admit it. The villagers whisper that perhaps, in time, she may learn humility, but for now, she is left to reflect on the consequences of her choices. And so, the story of Amina becomes a legend, passed down by the fireside as a tale of perseverance and the rewards that come to those who stand firm in their truth. Mothers tell their children, kindness and courage are like seeds. Plant them well, and they will bloom even in the harshest soil. Her journey reminds them that while the road may be fraught with trials, goodness finds its way to light, and those who endure are often rewarded beyond measure. With each passing season, Amina's life continues to blossom, a symbol of hope for all who face their own trials. Her tale is no longer just her own. It belongs to the village, a living reminder that in the end, it is the strength of the heart that triumphs over any adversity. As the tale of Amina's journey comes to a close, we're reminded of the power of resilience, kindness, and courage. Stories like hers are woven into the fabric of our own lives, carrying lessons that reach beyond the ages. Now, we invite you, our viewers, to reflect on Amina's journey. Have you ever faced challenges where patience and inner strength brought you through? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your experiences or the lessons you've drawn from the story. Don't forget to like and share this tale with friends and family, spreading the wisdom that resonates with us all. And let us know where you're watching from. It's a joy to see our community grow from all corners of the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey. And until our next story,